In the last 10 years, there has been a notable decrease in the American middle class. During this decade alone, individuals with middle incomes have encountered a more significant reduction in purchasing power than they did between 1970 and 1990. This decline is primarily linked to the rising cost of living in the United States, driving median home prices from $117,000 in the 70s to nearly $450,000 today. Get ready for a bitter reality check because in the next few minutes, we will uncover the ticking time bomb jeopardizing the core of the middle class. But before we delve deeper, stay informed by subscribing to our channel with your notifications enabled, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Various aspects of daily life, such as cars, healthcare, education, gas, utilities, and other consumables, have experienced a noticeable and exponential surge in prices. However, incomes have only witnessed a 66% increase over the last 5 decades. Inflation further compounds the issue, eating into a larger portion of people's income each month. The classic American dream of achieving financial security and wealth through home equity is becoming increasingly elusive for a significant segment of the population, including those identified as middle class. The present job market lacks a sufficient number of middle-income positions to support the modern middle class, forcing many households to juggle multiple jobs to sustain their living standards. A considerable number of individuals might have unknowingly slipped out of the middle class. The current job market is starkly divided, requiring individuals to either pursue a costly college degree for top-tier positions or settle for lower-paying jobs. Possessing a degree does not automatically ensure a 6-figure salary, given the prevalence of more accessible roles at the lower end of the job market. An American Compass survey in August 2023 unveiled that a majority of U.S. workers lack job security, with only 40% having stable jobs paying at least $40,000 annually, including health insurance and paid time off, with predictable earnings and a regular schedule. Despite the historical role of the middle class as a driver of economic growth in the U.S., it presently contributes a smaller income share than it did from 1960 to 1980, as per Pew Research Center data. Since the presidency of Richard Nixon in 2023, the middle class has contracted by 11%, now constituting less than half of the country's population. There's a common belief among economists that the official numbers might not accurately represent the true extent of the middle class, mainly due to the ambiguity in its definition. According to the Department of Labor, the federal poverty level for a family of 4 is set at $30,000, with those earning between $30,000 and $43,372 considered middle class. Critics, however, find it peculiar to place a part-time bartender and a suburban power couple with significantly different incomes in the same category. The Federal Reserve defines middle-income individuals as those falling within the middle 50% of all income. But concerns arise about the calculation of this average, especially given extreme income disparities. A more precise median income could potentially be up to 10 times higher than the current figures suggest. Essentially, the middle class is not accurately centered today, and the current definition is more about demographics than real purchasing power. While middle-class families may not be in poverty, their financial stability is not assured, and the fundamental support for this group seems to be weakening. A rising number of middle-class Americans are being left out of home ownership, with around 11 million families that were previously part of this income bracket no longer included since 2020. This situation has been worsened by inflation, reaching a peak of 9.1% in June. In 2022, there has been a considerable rise in property values, resulting in a surge in home equity for some individuals. Unfortunately, this has led to a situation where most young adults find themselves completely priced out of the housing market. With the highest mortgage rates in over 2 decades, middle-income households can now only afford homes that are worth half as much as they could just 3 years ago. Fannie Mae reports a significant decline in median purchasing power for families, dropping to $189,900 from $356,550 when interest rates were near zero. Despite the decrease in purchasing power, list prices have sharply increased, with 45% of markets in 100 major U.S. cities, as tracked by Redfin economists, reporting list prices exceeding $500,000 in 2023. Americans are taking out significantly more money for homes, and interest rates have risen significantly in the past few years. In general, the purchasing power of a middle-class homebuyer has decreased by about half since the end of 2020. The average mortgage payment on a newly purchased home has risen to over $2,000 a month, compared to $1,100 3 years ago. Lawrence Nunn, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, emphasizes that entering the market is particularly challenging for those earning less than six figures. This situation presents significant difficulties for young adults raised in middle-class households, impeding their ability to maintain previous living standards as they age due to the inability to invest in real estate. Alongside the challenges in the housing market, the costs of energy, fuel, and groceries have also seen a considerable increase in recent years. This leaves most middle-income earners with minimal disposable income for activities such as dining out, significant purchases, or trips. Reduced spending by individuals slows down economic activity, creating a negative feedback loop that heightens financial vulnerability for everyone. Saving every available penny at the end of the month is crucial, directing it toward emergency funds or retirement accounts. Given the lack of a reliable financial cushion for many, the situation becomes even more complex for Generation Z, who have just entered the workforce. As historian and writer Addison Del Mastro explains, this generation not only faces challenges in affording a starter home, but is also confronted with the diminishing availability of starter cars. Small or more affordable models that were once suitable for youngsters are now scarce, compelling them to take out substantial loans for SUVs or electric cars. Even the educated ones who seemingly did everything right find themselves stuck in financial dependence unless they were born into wealth. This challenge extends to millennials, some of whom were fortunate enough to acquire a starter home and car before they became excessively expensive. In 2023, achieving classic milestones of the American dream, such as upgrading to a larger house and enjoying a comfortable retirement, seems increasingly unattainable for many. The current economic landscape presents formidable challenges, illustrated by the difficulty of upgrading a 13-year-old Honda Fit and moving into a more substantial permanent home, an accomplishment of the previous generation at a similar age. The concept of retirement, once a fundamental aspect of the American dream, is now elusive for over half of working Americans, according to a September Bankit survey. The nation's retirement system is displaying signs of unraveling, with middle-class individuals aged 55 to 64 having an average of $82,000 in their retirement accounts, falling short of the $53,000 national average required to maintain their living standards in retirement. These individuals would need 8 to 11 times more than the current average. Addressing retirement shortfalls may seem simple on paper, saving 5% of income from an early age, working steadily for 4 decades, avoiding financial setbacks, and starting early. However, the reality is much harsher. If individuals start saving around age 40, they would need to contribute over 26% of their gross income annually until age 67 to achieve an 8% replacement rate in retirement. Embarking on a new journey at age 50 means allocating half of one's income for the remaining working years. The existing retirement system poses significant challenges to saving, pushing the dream of retiring with dignity further out of reach. Additionally, a staggering 90% of middle-class individuals note the increasing cost of living, with wages falling behind. Even those in the upper middle class face the reality of living paycheck to paycheck, and a substantial portion expresses concerns about losing access to loans. Financial hardships manifest in surging delinquency rates on credit cards, mortgages, and auto payments. In the last month, individuals earning between $55,000 and $99,000 experienced an unprecedented 6.1% delinquency rate in 60-day car payments. These figures highlight a harsh truth. The financial struggles faced by middle-class Americans have reached an unprecedented level. There's a viewpoint suggesting that the American middle class isn't just diminishing, but is in the midst of a significant crisis. A gradual and painful decline propelled by years of policies that have rendered the cost of living unbearable for the average individual. The repercussions of this crisis aren't limited to individuals but are also playing a role in a more widespread decline across the entire nation. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Share your thoughts, and let's keep the conversation going.